All right. So you guys can see my screen here, and I'm going to jump back and forth between the presentation and live Facebook. So again, just stop me if you guys have any questions and put that in the question answer chat box, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. So we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook today, but before I do, just because I don't want to wait till the end, I just want to go over two really quick things with you here. So one is our Almost Home program. This is going to be like a 60-second talk, just real quick. So I talk to realtors all the time, and I ask them, I said, look, have you ever had a deal die during the process because of the lender? And inevitably, whenever I'm in a room of realtors, they all raise their hand and say yes. They kind of laugh and chuckle a little bit. They're like, that's like a rhetorical question, right? So I asked a question. I say, who is the person that ultimately can approve a mortgage? And they usually think about that for a second, and then they say an underwriter. And I'm like, exactly. But I'm like, who gives you the pre-approval letter when your buyer goes out shopping? And they say the loan officer. And I said, well, there in and of itself is the issue. An underwriter is the one that really approves the loan, but the loan officer is the one who pre-approves the buyer up front. So although the loan officer means well, there's always something that they can miss, right? So with our Almost Home program, we underwrite our pre-approvals up front, so there's no guesswork, right? We get all the documentation from the buyer. We get their income, their assets, their credit, we're NDU, and the underwriter actually checks it out. They give their stamp of approval. They're good. You take them out, and you can do a 15-day closing with that buyer, because all they need to do once they find a property is they need to get the appraisal, the insurance, and title, and then they get their keys. So it's super quick. It gets your offer pushed to the front of the line, because we're going to have a conversation with the listing agent, letting them know, hey, Mr. Seller, our buyer's already fully approved. They've gone through underwriting, and that's how we can offer our 15-day closing guarantee. As long as the borrower goes through the Almost Home program, we will guarantee that we will close in 15 days or less, or the contract date, or we will pay the buyer $500 towards the closing cost at closing. So if I'm going to send this a copy of this out afterwards, and just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of our 15-day closing guarantee. Speed and efficiency is the name of the game, and also getting it right. And we combine the two with our Almost Home program and our 15-day closing guarantee offer. So with that being said, let's talk about Facebook. I'm going to go kind of quickly through the slides, because I want to spend most of the time in the workshop mode with you, kind of showing you the different things that I do. But I want to just get your mindset right first regarding Facebook. So there's 4 tips to know when talking about Facebook, right? So first, you need to know the platform that you're on, right? So Facebook is treated differently than Instagram and Twitter. So you need to make sure that you're talking to the people on your platform in the correct manner. Also very important, give before asking. Okay, that's like common sense. That's really how we should be in everyday life. And we're going to get further into this later, but you can't be constantly asking over and over and over and over. You have to give things of value to your audience in order for them to be engaged with you and look at you as a valuable resource, right? Putting listings in their face every 5 seconds, those are called right hooks. And so there's a book on the page that I'm showing you right here on the screen that I highly recommend you guys check out. It's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. It's by my guy, Gary Vaynerchuk. I love this dude. He's amazing. I highly suggest that you follow him on social media. The guy's brilliant, and a lot of the stuff he talks about can relate right into your real estate business and marketing and branding and all that good stuff. But he wrote this book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the jabs are the things of value that you're giving, right? Give, give, give. Then you got the right hook. That's your ask, okay? So I see a lot of people on social media and a lot of realtors, it's right hook after right hook after right hook, and they're not giving anything of value. So we're going to talk about what to give and how to do that. Also, we're going to talk about how to be human, right? Everybody knows, if I start this sentence, I know that you're going to be able to complete it. People do business with people they what? And I know in your head, you're like, know, like, and trust, right? So how do you get them to know, like, and trust you? Do you do it by showing them all your new listings? Or do you do it by showing them that you're a human being and that you're relatable to them, right? So far too often we're using social media to tell people stuff, or we're using it as a distribution channel to throw our stuff out there versus being part of the community and talking and being an advocate and being a resource. So I want you to kind of change your mindset a little bit about, stop just always posting stuff like of listings and stuff and properties, and start being a resource to your people. Lastly, join the conversation. This is a big one, and this is going to be predominantly what I show you when I jump into Facebook here shortly. Again, if you guys have any questions as I go, please feel free to ask, and I'll be sure to answer all those for you. So jabs are the value you provide your customers with. We talked about that, the content you put out, and the good things you do to convey your appreciation. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but and then the right hook is the ask. So there's a couple of important things I put out here that I want you to make sure that you keep in mind when you're working on Facebook. Is the right hook is your listings, right? Or asking for referrals, or asking them to join your mailing list, or asking them to go to your customer appreciation party. That's your right hook. And when you throw your right hook, okay? Don't be shy about it. Don't kind of like treat it like a jab. Look, if you're doing it the right way and you're doing give, you've already given the value. You've earned the permission to ask. Okay, so be direct in your ask, and be clear in what your call to action is, and make sure you have a call to action. And the other thing is you have to have patience, right? Facebook is a long game. This isn't something that you do. It's like when you guys do, and you're farming an area, and you send out your community mailers, right? You're picking your area you want to farm. I hope you're not the type to send out one mailer and then be like, well, this doesn't work, right? You got to do that every single month religiously. And over time, you'll reap the benefits and you'll see the results. Facebook is the same thing, except it costs a lot less money. And actually, the way we're going to talk about it today, it's free. So I want to just talk to you a little bit about that. Again, be firm. Don't hesitate. Here's a key thing that I want to make sure that you guys know, and I've tested this before, and I will let you know if I see this with anything that you're putting out on Facebook. So I hope I have your permission to be honest with you and share with you. Make sure that whatever you're posting, the mechanics work, right? Test it out first. Click on your link. If you say, hey, register here to get on my foreclosure hot list, click on the link yourself and make sure the link actually works. Because I've seen before where it didn't work, and it's kind of embarrassing when you have a call to action and then it doesn't work. So, and then create the least amount of friction for your community. What does that mean? Basically, make it as easy as possible. The least amount of clicks, the least amount of redirect here. Like when you ask them to go do something, just make it super simple for them. The more clicks it takes them to get to where they need to go, the less likely they're going to follow through with doing what you want them to do. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Keep it simple, right? Simple's always a good strategy. We talked a little bit about this. So you need to think of social media as storytelling. Now, that's a whole nother class that I will teach, that I firmly believe in, that the best speakers and the best salespeople are very, very good, if not great, storytellers. Okay, so that's very important for you to think about. So I don't want you to look at Facebook as just post. I want you to think, okay, how can I tell a story? Let me give you a quick example. So instead of just saying, hey, congratulations, Mary, on the purchase of your new home, and here's a picture of me and Mary. Take a minute think about Mary's process that she went through. Okay. Meet Mary. So I met Mary about 6 months ago. And when I met Mary, Mary was very intimidated by the home buying process. She thought she wasn't going to be able to afford the payments, and she didn't, feel like she had enough money saved up for a down payment. She actually thought she needed 20% down to buy a home, right? So, 6 months later, Mary had her ups and downs. We missed out on a couple of properties that we really wanted, but just like a lot of sometimes the worst things or the things that we lose out on that seem like they're a bad thing turn out to be great in the end. And Mary found the home of her dreams after missing out on a couple of different offers, but it ended up being a blessing in disguise. Because look at Mary today, right? Mary's got her keys. She made her keys jingle. She got into the house with 3% down, and and their great mortgage company walked them through the whole process. So you tell a story, because you know what that story does for the people that are reading that or watching that. I'm big, obviously you guys know probably that I'm a big proponent of video. What the people, like when people read that or when they see your video, it makes that story relatable. Okay, and that's what I want you to get out of this. So when you're posting stuff on Facebook, sometimes you just posting a picture at somebody at a closing, you have a lot of potential buyers out there that just don't think they can buy. So just seeing Mary at that closing table doesn't make that relatable to your prospective buyer. But if you talk about the struggle and you talk, here's Mary at the closing table, but Mary's journey was much different. She started out with a much different mentality and never thought she'd make it here, but here we are today. And let me tell you her story. That will make it relatable. And as you tell different stories, you're going to hit different people, and you're going to draw them in because you're going to hit on what their concerns are. All home buyers have the same concerns pretty much. I mean, there's only a few, whether it's credit or income or down payment. There's really only a couple. So if your stories mirror those, you will be able to do very, very well in getting people to want to work with you, and pulling some people out of the woodwork that are shy or a little nervous to start the process. So here's where I want to jump over into Facebook. I'm not going to go over all these different things. There's algorithms in Facebook. So here's where I want to start telling you guys and getting you guys into Facebook here and showing you guys some of these strategies. So Facebook recently made some significant changes to the user experience. And this is very recently, as of a couple of weeks. So I'm not sure if you guys have read about this, but Mark Zuckerberg, if you've heard of him, he's a smart dude, right? And so what Mark Zuckerberg wants to make sure that the users of Facebook are having the best experience possible, because he wants you to spend the most time on Facebook versus any other social networking platform, right? That's a good business plan. So the feedback that he was getting was that people were seeing too much of stuff they didn't want to see. Okay, so I don't know if you can relate to that, but when you're scrolling through your news feed, are you seeing the relevant content that you want to be seeing, right? So the feedback that Mark was getting was that they're seeing too much stuff, too many sponsored posts, and too many ads. So that sucks for us in the mortgage and real estate business if we have a business page and if we are running ads. Because if you have a business page like we do, you would have noticed that over time, your organic posts through business were getting less and less and less engagement unless you are paying to play, right? So if you're paying a lot of money, then Facebook will be more than happy to show your post. And that's going to get, it's going to drive the cost of Facebook ads up, because they're going to be showing less ads. And so for you to get your ad shown or your post shown, it's going to up the price, because Facebook's going to say, look, we're going to show less ads. So if you want your ad to be one of the few that we show, you got to pay a little bit more. Okay. So Facebook isn't going to put something in place where they lose revenue, right? So Mark's a smart guy. So he's just going to say, look, we're going to have less people shown, but we're just going to charge them more so we make the same amount of money anyway. And the user experience gets better. So what we're going to talk about today is not related to your business page. Okay, this is going to be strategies that you can use through your personal Facebook that are very effective. I can tell you from personal experience, they are very effective. Okay, so so Facebook's going to show stuff that's relevant to you. So there's something right up here called the algorithm, right? And so there's something called, and I don't know if it's on here, yeah, the affinity score. Now I use this slides for other classes I teach, but so we're going to talk about this one right here, affinity score. Have you ever noticed when you go on Facebook that you see like the same people all the time at the top of your newsfeed when you go into Facebook? Have you guys seen that before? So the reason you see that is because Facebook has what's called an affinity score. So Facebook is grading your relationship, your one-on-one relationship with each of your friends on Facebook. So let's say you have 2,000 friends on Facebook. Well, it's pretty impossible to show you, if you go into your newsfeed, it's pretty impossible to show you 2,000 people's posts, right? Facebook knows that you would miss things that are important to you that you really would want to see. So Facebook is grading you or grading your relationship with each individual friend that you have on Facebook. Whoever you engage with the most frequently, is who you're going to see at the top of your newsfeed. Okay, so there's a reason why you see the same people's posts all the time. Now, obviously, if there's a post that gets a lot of engagement and is very relevant and has a lot of likes and comments and all that stuff, that will get pushed to the top of the newsfeed also. But more so, what you can control is that relationship that you have with those certain people. And who are the people that you want to keep most in contact with? So who are the people that you want to have a high affinity score with in order to get more referrals in your business and to stay top of mind with your past clients and your sphere of influence? So like those people that you want to stay in contact with are your past clients and sphere. And you want to make sure that affinity score is real high on them so that when you post, they see your stuff. Because what you don't want is when you post something that's your right hook, that it gets dropped to the bottom of the newsfeed and nobody sees your post, right? It gets no engagement because it's at the bottom of everybody's newsfeed because you haven't been interacting with those people on Facebook. You've been a poster on Facebook, like your listings are everywhere, but you're not engaging with those people one-on-one and you're not part of the community, right? You're using it like a bulletin board instead of using it like social networking. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. So hopefully I got your attention there. So let me try to jump out of here. And I'm going to go into Facebook. And has anybody ever noticed over here, there is this little button called Friends Lists or Friend Lists. Most people, every time I've taught this, I have never had a realtor tell me that they use this, which is cool because at least I can teach you something new today. So has anybody on this webinar ever used Friends List before? I'm interested I want to see if you give me like a yes or no. So Abby says she does use Friends List. Jenny says no. Karen, haven't seen it. Let's see, have no clue. No. Okay. So we got one person using it, and let me make this a little bigger here. So here's what I'm going to show you. Because look, let's say you have 2,000 friends. When you go into your news feed here, right, it's going to be very busy, right? It's busy with sponsored posts. It's busy with ads. Like if you scroll down, I'm going to see a lot of ads in here. Okay. As I go through, lot of stuff that, maybe isn't relevant, isn't stuff that I'm interested in. Another sponsored ad here. So you could see kind of what's in my newsfeed. But if I'm a realtor and I want to use Facebook for business, right, and I want to use it, and I don't have a lot of time to spend on Facebook, right, so I only want to dedicate maybe 10 or 15 minutes a day to Facebook. This is the way I highly suggest that you do it. So you're going to go into your friends lists, and there's going to be a button right here that says create a list. Okay, so you're going to go in here and you're going to create a list called past customers. Okay, so you're going to go in there and do create, past customers, and then you can add the members right from here, or you can just hit create and then add the members later. So those are the people that you really want to stay engaged with, because when I survey a lot of realtors and I ask them, what are you doing currently to stay top of mind with your past clients? Most of the answers I get, if they're being honest, are like not much, right? I do some postcards, I send a holiday card or something like that. I have them on an email drip. That's not really real personal. And so I highly suggest using Facebook to stay top of mind with your past clients in a cool way. So you can do this without throwing real estate in their face all the time, and without thinking, okay, what kind of content do I need to push out? So what you're going to do is you're going to go in, you're going to create your list of past customers. And, I have lists of realtors I want to stay in contact with, and I have lists of loan officers that I'm recruiting. So obviously you can set up as many lists as you want. And then Facebook actually also will give you like recommendations on other lists. But let me just give you an example. So I'm going to go into my realtor list. So here's the power of what a realtor list is. Okay. So here's my list. I have 285 realtors currently in my list. And so what I can do is when I go into this list, it gives me a separate news feed just for the people in my list. So let's say now you have 100 past clients. Instead of having to go through the news feed of 2,000 people and trying to find the 100 past clients that you do business with, you go in and you add them into this friends list. Now, you do have to be friends with them on Facebook first. So I would highly suggest that you go through your database of past clients, and if you're not already friends with them, that you send a friend request. Now, you guys typically spend a ridiculous amount of time with your clients. So I would venture to say that almost every single client that you send a friend request to would accept your friend request, because you typically are spending months with them, right? So a lot of you end up being truly friends with them. So I would say make sure you're friends with them first. And then once you're friends with them, all you have to do is go over to this little area right here, add friends to list, and then you just type their name. Right. And so as you start typing their name, you'll have, all the options will appear. You just click on them and it adds them right into your list. Okay. So this makes it very efficient for you to go in and see what's going on in your past client's life currently and be a part of that on their turf. Okay. And the reason that's so important is because you can't always talk about real estate, right? But you want to stay in front of them and you want to show them that you care. Okay, so you're going to go on and you're going to spend 10 minutes, right? You're going to time block yourself. 10 to 15 minutes, it won't even take you that long if you do it every day, 10 minutes to go to your friends list and start scrolling down and commenting and liking on what's going on in their life. So not only will, Melky's, good job, post there, under contract. So not only will it show them that you care, but it keeps you top of mind. And there's actually, remember that thing we talked about called the affinity score? So now when you start engaging on their turf with them and you're commenting in their posts and you're being a part of their life, so it's obviously making you look really good with them. But it's also raising your affinity score very high, so that when you go and post on Facebook, on your regular Facebook, the likelihood that they're going to see it and that it will be put in front of them is extremely high. And that's what you want. So when you throw your right hook, it's going to be in front of the people that really need to see it most. because a lot of your referrals for other clients should come from your past clients. So although the past clients might not be, although the past clients, might not come back to you, they might come back to you every 5 to 7 years, but the referrals that will come from that will be huge. Okay. So, and especially if you stay top of mind, and you can also see when they're going through good times or bad times, and what an opportunity to be able to send them something to their house to show them that you care and that you're paying attention. So their little kid is sick, and you go on, you find a website, Send Out Cards, which is the one we use, and you send a little care package to the kid. Get well soon. He's just sick. He's home from school, and the mom's posting something about kids are stuck at home. I'm going to pull my hair out, right? You send a little thing to the house. Get well soon, Johnny. Think we're all pulling for you, or get well soon. Your kids in school miss you. Whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter. But would you not stand out with that client for a long, long time for very little cost, just because you're showing, you're taking the time to see what's going on in their life, and you can do this in 10 minutes or less. Here's the thing. So when you scroll down, so when I go through people's news feeds, right, you're going to notice a few things, right? And this isn't picking on anybody. This is just the way Facebook is. What are you noticing here? All right. There's no likes and no comments. Okay. So here, no likes and no comments. So you're going to go through and you're going to just notice that you have a huge opportunity to stand out in a crowd because there's nobody else there, right? So when you go on and you comment on your past client stuff, I know that we are all human beings and we're all the same, right? We all like getting likes on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And we like getting a lot of comments on our stuff. It makes us feel good, right? So why not make your clients feel appreciated and feel good? It's so easy. And I would highly suggest you don't take the lazy way out and just right? Be a part of the conversation. Throw a comment in, because the comment will rank much higher, both in their mind, and then also in the affinity score. So Facebook grades the comments much higher, as well as the GIFs and stuff like that. You use this little GIF button. You can post little animated pictures. Those grade much higher than just liking and moving on. Because a lot of times, you're less likely to go through, let's say I'm a past client, you're less likely to go through and look at all the likes and see who liked them versus reading the comments. Most of us go through and read the comments. So spend a couple seconds just to throw a comment in there, and it will go a lot longer way. Let me just go back real quick and see, make sure I didn't miss any questions. So if you're not engaging with an audience, how do you begin the interactions so that you do engage with them? This is the way I do it. I go and I just start engaging on their turf. I don't know if I answered that question the right way. So all their posts go to the friends list only. Okay, so look, the people that are in your friends lists don't know they're in your friends list. Right. So they're not going to get a notification saying Melky's added you to their, past client list. They have no idea. This is for you only. And all this is to strip away all the other noise of all the other posts that are going on Facebook, and for you to see the people that you want to see the best. Okay. Or that you care most to see. So this is just really condensing the news feed into a small group of people. All right. So, but what this is not made for, there's no place, if you go here, there's no place for you to post. Okay. So there's no place for you to post here and have it just go to this group. That's actually something we're going to talk about in a second, called groups. So this is just really for you reading and interacting with them on their turf. I hope that answers your question, Karen. So this is not for you to post to them. This is just for you to read and keep up on them. So another thing you can do for your past clients is, let's say when you click on their name, you can go hover over the following button here. and you have to go to each contact and do this. But for your past clients, and I wouldn't do this for a lot of people, but I would do it like your past clients should be extremely important to you. I would scroll over the following because Facebook defaults to default, which basically just see all posts as usual. And usual is Facebook's grading everything in the back end with their algorithms, and they're saying, what am I going to put in front of this person? So you can go in and put see first. And that way, anytime your past customer posts something, it's going to go to the top of your news feed automatically. Okay, so you can do it that way, and you can, that's like a fail safe. You can do that in addition to the friends list. So I highly suggest you guys use the friends list. So let's go back into friends list for a second, and go back in here. So again, we've kind of covered all this, but this is a great way for you to jump in real quick and be a part of the conversation. Anybody have any questions on friends lists before I jump over to the groups real quick? So I want to show you how cool groups is. So their posts will be in my news feed and in friends list. If you hit see first, then it's going to ensure that it's in your regular news feed. Like if I click on this button here, this is my regular news feed. So it's going to make sure that it'll be at the top of this news feed, and you can go into friends list and go into your past customers, and it'll be under there as well. Again, they're not going to know they're in a friends list. This is just for you to be efficient and have like a little ninja strategy. And they're going to be like, come on, they're going to be in there and they're going to be like, Abby, she's always commenting on my stuff. Like she really pays attention to what I'm doing. That's really cool. That she's taken the time to care about me, other than, because look, let's all be honest, right? Can we put our honesty hats on for a second? You guys, way more than us, because we might spend an hour with a client. They don't even want to see us. They don't want to talk to us barely anymore. Like they just want their loan done, right? And which is cool. It's not. I don't take it personally. But for you guys, it's way different. You guys spend so much time with them, right? And I promise you, there's after you guys are done at closing, there's like a hangover effect, or there's I felt like dumped, right? And not that you guys intend to do this, but I've heard it from clients before in more of a joking manner, but they're it's kind of like passive aggressiveness of you spend all this time with them, you're going to lunches, you're meeting with them, you're spending weekends with them and whatever, and all of a sudden you close on their property and they never hear from you again. We know that you're busy, so you don't intend for it to be that way, but they're just like, this person is not like what happened. This is a great way for you to combat that and still show that you're around. And you again, if they're going to be going on vacations, you can see that, you can comment, you can throw little things. Hey, I was there a year ago. Make sure you check out this place. Or how cool would it be to send them a little gift prior to them going away, of where they're going. So maybe a Frommer's guide, or a map, or whatever it is, whatever you can think of, a little $3 or $5 gift to send them to show them that you're paying attention, that you care. It will, if you follow your past clients on Facebook, it'll give you every opportunity that you need to stand out and show them that you appreciate them. So I'm not sure if you guys have read 7 Levels of Communication. I talk about this book all the time, by Michael Maher, M-A-H-E-R. So he is coined the top referred realtor in the country. I don't know if that's really true. He calls himself that. But he said the number one reason you don't get another referral, you don't get a second referral from the same referral source, is because you didn't make them feel appreciated enough the first time. So keep that in the back of your mind. Make sure you keep it. Make sure that you keep people feeling appreciated. And all right, cool. So I think I've answered all the questions so far on that. So that's one way to keep in touch with them. Very, very easy. Guys, 10 minutes a day. If you don't implement this strategy, you must hate money. Okay, I'm just telling you. You must hate money. You would rather get a Zillow lead that you're going to close at a 1 or 3% clip versus a referral from your past client. So if you like money, do this. Okay, so I'll tell you that now. Then the second thing you can do is create a group. Okay, so like what you can do is you can create a group and add people to it. So let's just say, Agent Unleashed. This is my group. So in here we have 364 members, and it's Agent Unleashed. This is where, I share a lot of ideas with you guys regarding the industry and different things going on. So here's where a group is very beneficial. And you can create a group also for your past clients. So it might be, Karen's amazing clients is maybe what you call it, right? So you'll create your group, Karen's amazing clients. And if you're friends with them on Facebook, you can just add them into the group. They don't need to accept your invitation into the group. Now, if you're not friends with them on Facebook, you do need to, they do need to approve it if you're not friends. But if you are, you can just add them into the group. They can get out of the group anytime if they want, but you can add them into it without their consent. And Facebook, remember we talked about the algorithms and Facebook and what they're going to show. If somebody's in a group, Facebook puts a very high credence on that you want to, like the person in the group wants to see what's going on in that group because they're a member of the group. So usually it's like something that's of interest to them, so that when you post in the group, it's going to put it to the top of their newsfeed. Okay. So I would also do this with your past clients. I would also set up different groups like for prospective home buyers, right? Set up like, so every prospective home buyer you get, once you have an initial conversation with them, add them, friend them on Facebook. It's not going to be weird. You already met with them. And I would add them to prospective clients, a group, right? In there, you're going to share a bunch of home buyer tips, okay, all the time. Here's really cool tips on how to get ready to buy a home and this and that, right? And so a lot of times the feedback I get from realtors is, well, I don't know what to talk about, right? I don't know what to say, which is cool. I get it. Like it's hard to create a bunch of content that takes a lot of time. You can post little videos in there. Hey, this is Melkis. I just met with a client, a first-time home buyer, and they had a really cool question. And I just wanted to share my response with my client, with you, because a lot of buyers have the same questions and thought you might find this helpful. And then you go and you explain the question, right? That's cool content. I highly suggest you use video. And video and Facebook works really, really well, right? Facebook loves videos. They love live videos even more than regular videos. Keep this stuff in mind. Get comfortable using video. It'll be your best friend, because remember we said before, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. What better way to get them to know, like, and trust you than to use video? There is a reason why we connect so well with actors and actresses and people on TV. They don't know who we are, right? They have no clue who we are, but we have like a connection with them. Like there's a reason we like certain actors and actresses and characters on TV, because we relate to them, right? And we feel like they're going through a struggle we're going through, or whatever it is that makes them relatable is what makes us attract to them. So for you to use video, you will attract the people that relate to you. So just understand that it's really hard to relate to some like a written post in Facebook. It's much easier to relate to you on camera when they're watching you, to say, Cindy looks like a cool girl. I'd like to work with her. She seems like somebody that would really go out of their way for her clients. That makes them love you. Okay. So it's important that you guys use that, use video, even if you're not comfortable doing it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but so you're going to go in, you're going to create a group. And so let me just show you real quick how to do that. So all you do is click on groups, and then you're going to click on this little green button over here that says create group. You type in the name of your group. You can add some people right here just to make it real simple. You can add the people later, and then you're just going to select your privacy settings. So it's a public group, it's a closed group, or a secret group. So I usually make them either closed or secret. And it tells you right there, what the differences are. So I don't need to explain that to you, but I would either do a closed or a secret group. I wouldn't make it public, because the only problem with public is that anybody can see all the posts and all the conversations that are happening in the group, even if they're not in your group. if you make it public, which isn't necessarily always a good idea. So I would make it either, I'd make it either of the other two. I wouldn't make it public. Here's the really cool thing that that groups will do for you that posting in your newsfeed will not. So has anybody ever noticed that there's a little button, like a little, whether you use a desktop version or whether you use the mobile version, you get these things called notifications, right? So a lot of us, we pay attention to our notifications, right? And notifications only pop up certain times. So if I just make a post, right, and you're my friend on Facebook, you're not going to get a notification that I made a post unless I either tagged you in the post, right? I just tagged your name. So now you're going to get a notification, or you're in a group. Okay. So if you're in a group, so if I add you to my close client group, or you're in my, let's say you're in my Agent Unleashed, and I post something, you're going to get a little notification to let you know to go and read about that. That's really important because people use their notifications to go and see what's going on. Okay. That's why groups are important. So the two reasons why groups are important: one, it gets your post push higher. Two, it will give them a notification that they need to check something out without you having to tag them in the post. One little quick piece of advice: don't be that person, and I haven't seen any of you do this, so that's cool, but don't be that person that tags like 50 people in a post that aren't related to the post. So if you hold a client appreciation party and you tag all 50 people that were there, cool. They were there. They're part of it. They're probably in some of the pictures. If you just make a post and you just want them to see your post because, hey, it helps you to get more eyeballs on your post if you tag them, and you tag 50 people that have nothing to do with the post or aren't there or aren't part of whatever's going on, it's really annoying. So don't do that. Don't be that person. So let me see here. Okay. Does anybody have any questions around why the friends lists or the groups, why they're important? Does anybody have any questions on why they're important? And I hope you guys can understand how these are powerful for you to use them to your advantage, to be able to get, to be able to keep in touch with your past client database in a very quick, efficient, easy way. Now, there's other things I would recommend that you do, but that's not relevant to Facebook right now. But this will keep you top of mind and keep the referrals coming in from your past clients, because they are going to constantly be thinking about you. It's not very often that a realtor will stay that engaged with their past clients. It just doesn't happen unless you just become best friends with them and then they're the one person you keep in touch with. But this is a killer way for you to stay top of mind with all your past clients in less than 10 minutes a day. I promise you it'll take you less than 10 minutes. You just got to go through and initially set it up this way. Let's see here. So let me go back and just make sure that we didn't miss anything here that's pertinent. So we talked about being a storyteller, things on Facebook that are really important, right? So be yourself, be personal, be relatable, okay? Don't make stuff up, right? Don't embellish anything. I can't stand just be wherever you are at. The humility of being wherever you're at or whatever's going on is extremely relatable. It's raw and it's inspiring. So don't act like you're somewhere you're not, and be a storyteller. Okay, there's the art of storytelling. I can't stress enough how important that is, and be honest. Right. I would highly recommend to you: don't talk politics, religion, racial opinions. Don't be negative. Right. You can be honest and without being negative. So not everything has to be painted with rose-colored glasses, or not everything has to be perfect. So I can talk about the rising rate environment, right? Rates have gone up over 0.5% in less than 45 days on mortgages, right? Which kind of sucks. I can talk about that and tie it back into the costs of waiting. Okay, why you should buy now versus buy later. So I don't have to like avoid the bad topic that the rates are, that look, if the same house you're looking at today versus 60 days ago is going to cost you, a good amount more per month. I could talk about that, right? I don't have to avoid the fact that rates have gone up. So, but I don't have to be negative about it and just like say, oh, this sucks or whatever. And just, don't be that person. Isn't it funny? And this is something I want you guys to realize. And I want you guys to pay attention to this and be different. Isn't it funny how the negative people always are so much louder than the positive people? So I would challenge you to let positivity be louder. Okay, so don't be ashamed of being positive. I think a lot of times people shy away from being like excited about something that's going really well in their life because they don't want other people to feel bad. So like I had a realtor of mine that posted a picture that bought a new Mercedes, like a real nice Mercedes, right? This is, I don't know, $120,000 car. And I remember him telling me, he literally was wrestling with whether or not he should post this picture of him with his new Mercedes. But this was like a lifelong dream for him. Like he just really, like ever since he was a kid, like he just really wanted to reward himself for all his hard work. And this was important to him. So when he posted his post, I didn't know the whole backstory to it before, but when he posted his post, I went on there and I was like, super happy for him. And I was like, dude, you deserve it. You work your ass off like this. Like, I know how much this means to you. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that were like, that's arrogant or, throwing it in your face, whatever it is, right? You can't worry about those people because like from what I see, when people post positive stuff, they're less likely to post the positive stuff, first of all, because they don't want to seem like they're bragging or like how great my life is and whatever. But when people post negative stuff, it's like everybody wants to jump on board and say, oh, yeah. And they want to kind of enable them and they want to be like, oh, it's instead of just, I don't know. I just feel like everybody who talks negative is like they all kind of group together and they all like are their own support group. Like, oh, yeah, everything's bad. Versus like the people that are positive are like, they just seem quieter. But I see that slowly changing. So I just want to encourage you that if you, don't be negative. Don't fall into that trap and be the positive voice out there on social media. That's the last thing there is, make positivity louder. The last thing I want to talk about here is using Messenger. Okay. Now all the different platforms have different versions of this, whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, they all have what's called DM or direct messaging. All right. And I want to encourage you to use that to your advantage. So when you post something, right, when you post something, there's this, the messenger button up here, messages. You could take your online conversation basically of like, because a lot of times people don't want to have like a big long conversation about their personal situation in a news feed, right? Because everyone sees that. So you want to as quickly as possible. So let's say you make a post about, the stresses of buying a home, who can relate? Like, credit is one of those things that a lot of people worry about. That's kind of like going to the doctor, right? You don't want to know if there's something wrong. So sometimes you just avoid it, knowing that you probably should get it checked out, but you're like, I don't want to, I'd rather not know. People treat their credit that way. So if you make a post about that, and let's say you get some comments, I can, it's scary for me too. I would go and direct message that person. And I would say, look, I appreciate you commenting and sharing and opening up a little bit. I'd love to talk to you more about it because really it's not as scary as you might think. We have a mortgage company that we work with that it's not a matter of if you can buy, it's when you can buy. So, I have a mortgage company that will work with you, even if your credit's not where it needs to be right now. Let's get started and get it worked on, so that way you are ready to buy in 3 months or 6 months, ready to rock and roll. So you'll take that conversation into Messenger. So there's a separate app for Messenger on your phone, and then right here you just click messages and go right there, and then you can take your conversations from an online conversation. It's still technically online, but we consider it offline, because now you're having a one-on-one conversation. It's like text messaging, so it's more personal. So I would absolutely take advantage of messages there to be able to have a more meaningful one-on-one conversation, get their phone number, get their contact information, and go. Does anybody have any last questions before we wrap up here? If you're not already in my Agent Mastermind or Agent Unleashed, group, make sure you click on that. I'm going to send a follow-up email to you guys, so you'll have all of our contact information. Most of you already have it, but for those of you that are new here, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. I'm going to start doing these a lot more often. I teach a ton of lunch and learns, and I'm just like, a lot of people can't make it. So I figure, let me start teaching some of the little tips and tricks that I use. Let me just start teaching this to you guys. So I hope you found it helpful. I hope you can relate this to your business. Let me see if there's any last questions. Let's see, I have a question here. I have 2 web pages on Facebook. How do I merge them? So I'm guessing you're talking about 2 pages. So if you're talking about pages, you can't really merge them, I don't think, because if you have like people that like your page, you can't. You have to organically siphon them into the other page. I don't think you can just merge pages. I'm not 100% sure of that. I don't know how to do that. So if you have 2 different pages and you have, some people on this page and some people on that page, I would just put on the page that you're going to keep or that you want to put them onto. I would put a message on the page you're going to close down or you don't want to give as much attention to. And I would be posting a bunch of stuff. Hey, check out my other page. I'm going to be, kind of winding this one down. This is the more popular page, and I pay a lot more attention to it. And just be honest and say, hey, jump over to this one because I want to stay connected with you and I want to be able to provide you as much value as possible. And I'm much more active over here. So come check this one out. I also am not a fan, and this wasn't one of the questions, but I'm not a fan of having like multiple personal Facebook profiles. Like, I see people like all the time, they have 2 personal Facebooks. I'm like who you are is who you should be, and you shouldn't be ashamed of who you are. And if you are ashamed of something you're posting, like, you shouldn't be posting it. So I'm a very big proponent of like people, like when you're buying a house, people want to do business with you. So if you have a business page, it's kind of hard sometimes to relate. Like, I post way more in my personal Facebook than I do on Resolution Home Loans. People like engaging with me one-on-one more than they do with it's like, do you want to deal with one person at Home Depot or do you want to deal with like the brand Home Depot, right? Like, you want a person to take care of what your needs are. So I would just keep that in mind. Like have one personal profile, and just because a lot of the stuff that you can do that we talked about today, you can't do on a page, right? So a page is really good if you want to run ads and you want to, you're going to do sponsored posts and you want to prospect for leads. We could talk about that in another webinar, but the personal page is where you build relationships and where you can engage with them on their turf. Guys, this was perfect timing. It's 2 minutes short of 11, so I definitely appreciate it. Hope you guys got a ton out of it. Please keep us in mind. We'd love to work with your clients. We really appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys, and you mean the world to us. So thank you very much. I'll be doing a lot of stuff. Oh, real quick, we have a in the Agent Unleashed page. We're holding a live event next week on the 13th. So if you can make it, come by. We'll look forward to having you there. We're going to serve breakfast, and I would love to have you guys attend. So if you need information on that, just shoot me a message, and I'll be glad to send you over the flyer. But come join us next week. I'd love to see you guys in person. And with that, have a fantastic day and enjoy your weekend.